What if I told you there's something you likely consumed this morning, before you even got out of bed, that could be quietly harming your body? No smell, no color, no immediate pain. Something that enters your daily routine disguised as a normal food or drink, and over time, drop by drop, starts damaging two of the most hard-working systems in your body without you noticing anything. It may sound exaggerated, but let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up with swollen ankles and couldn't explain why? Felt exhausted even after sleeping through the night? Had sudden cramps in the middle of the night that made no sense? These are not random. They can be early warning signs that your kidneys are under stress, and in most cases, no one is paying attention. My name is Dr. Jason Watanabe. I'm a cardiac surgeon, and over the past decade, I've followed countless patients whose conditions progressed further than they ever expected. And one of the hardest parts of my job is realizing how many of those cases could have been avoided. Looking at someone and knowing that if they had understood earlier what I'm about to show you today, their story might have turned out very differently. That's why I'm here. Not to alarm you, but to give you information that can truly change the direction of your health. Today, I'm going to reveal 4 of the most common silent threats to your kidneys, ranked from the least harmful to the most dangerous. And the number 1 on this list is something you're very likely consuming every single day, thinking it's completely harmless. So stay with me until the end, because that final one is one of the leading causes behind kidney failure and dialysis, not just in the United States, but worldwide. But before we get into the list, you need to understand something fundamental. Why are the kidneys so easy to damage and so difficult to recover once the process begins? Think of your body as a factory that never shuts down, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Inside that system, your kidneys act as one of the most advanced filtration units imaginable. Each kidney contains around 1 million microscopic filtering structures, tiny units working continuously to clean your blood. Together, they remove toxins, regulate fluids, balance electrolytes, control blood pressure, support red blood cell production, and help maintain bone strength. It's an incredible workload, and it all happens silently. That's the problem. Your kidneys don't scream when something is wrong. They whisper. And by the time those whispers become loud enough to notice, a large portion of kidney function may already be lost. In fact, tens of millions of people are living with reduced kidney function right now, without even knowing it. Because the damage doesn't happen all at once. It builds slowly, quietly, until one day, it can no longer be ignored. Kidney disease doesn't usually begin with clear symptoms. It can progress quietly for years, without anything obvious to alert you. And by the time it finally shows up, the damage is often already advanced. There's another important factor most people don't think about. As you age, your kidneys age with you. Think of it like an engine that has been running for decades. It still works, but it doesn't have the same resilience it once had. What a younger system could tolerate without consequences, an older one may not. That's why the risks we're about to discuss become especially important after 50. And even more critical after 60 or 70. So let's begin. Number 4 on this list, the one most people never associate with kidney damage, yet it creates a slow and constant impact. Sedentary behavior. Let me ask you something honestly. How many hours a day do you spend sitting, watching TV, using your phone, in front of a computer? For many people, the answer is most of the day. Now think about this image. Imagine a strong, flowing river, clear, moving with force, constantly renewing itself. Now imagine that same river, slowing down, becoming still. It turns stagnant. Debris builds up. The water loses its clarity. Over time, it becomes toxic. That's what happens inside your body when movement disappears. Your kidneys depend on steady, powerful blood flow to function properly. When you move, when you walk, when you stay active, your heart pumps more efficiently, and blood reaches your kidneys with the pressure and energy they need to filter properly. But when you remain inactive for long periods, circulation slows down. The flow becomes weaker, and your kidneys don't receive the same level of support. But it doesn't stop there. Lack of movement opens the door to two of the most damaging conditions for kidney health: type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. When you stay inactive, your body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar. Cells become resistant to insulin, and glucose begins to accumulate in the bloodstream. Over time, this leads directly to diabetes. At the same time, weight gain increases the workload on your heart, which pushes blood pressure higher. And both of these conditions, diabetes and hypertension, are among the leading causes of kidney damage worldwide. Now here's the good news. The solution to this problem is simpler than most people think. You don't need to become an athlete. You don't need intense workouts or a gym routine. What matters most is breaking the cycle of long, uninterrupted sitting. Even small changes can make a difference. Standing up regularly, moving your body, taking short walks throughout the day. Something as simple as setting a reminder every hour can begin to shift the way your body functions. When that reminder goes off, stand up, walk to the kitchen, grab a glass of water, stretch your arms. It may seem simple, but that small movement reactivates your circulation. And even a short daily walk, 15 to 20 minutes, can be one of the most powerful things you do for your kidneys. You don't need intensity, you need consistency. Remember the river? Every step you take is like sending a fresh wave of clean flow through your body, supporting your internal filters. Now let's move to the next one. Something that most people have at home, something they trust, something that feels completely harmless, but it isn't. Number 3, anti-inflammatory medications. The relief that comes with a hidden cost. You've probably taken them before. Ibuprofen, naproxen, diclofenac. For headaches, joint pain, back pain, they're easy to access, no prescription needed in many cases. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous when used frequently. Because people don't think twice. These medications work. They reduce pain. They reduce inflammation. But when used regularly, especially over long periods, they can place significant stress on your kidneys, and this risk becomes much higher after the age of 50. Let me explain this in a simple way. Inside your kidneys, there are substances that help keep blood vessels open and allow proper blood flow for filtration. Think of them as protectors, keeping everything running smoothly. But anti-inflammatory drugs work by blocking these substances throughout the body, including inside your kidneys. As a result, the blood vessels in your kidneys begin to narrow, blood flow decreases, and when that happens, your kidneys don't receive what they need to function properly. It's like stepping on a garden hose. Water stops flowing, and the plant begins to suffer. Over time, this reduced flow can lead to real damage. Studies have shown that prolonged use of these medications is associated with a significantly higher risk of developing chronic kidney disease, and an even higher risk of worsening it if it already exists. And this isn't just theoretical. I've seen it happen. A patient in her late 60s came to me with constant fatigue and swelling in her legs. She had been taking ibuprofen daily for years to manage joint pain. She believed she was doing something harmless, something necessary. But when we ran her tests, her kidney function had already dropped to a concerning level, and she had no idea. That's how silent this process can be. Now, this doesn't mean you should never use these medications, but it does mean you need to be aware of how often you're using them, and for how long. Because what brings relief today may be creating a problem you won't feel until much later. When she finally understood what was happening, she didn't cry out of fear. She cried out of frustration, not because of what she was facing, but because no one had told her sooner. And that's something I've seen more times than I can count. The solution is not to live in pain. The solution is to have the right conversation. Be honest with your doctor about everything you take, not just prescriptions, but over-the-counter medications, supplements, vitamins. Because those details matter more than most people realize. In many cases, alternatives can reduce the need for constant anti-inflammatory use. Options like properly dosed acetaminophen may be safer for the kidneys in certain situations. Physical therapy, heat or cold applications, and guided movement techniques can also help manage pain effectively. Here's the key principle. Using anti-inflammatories occasionally for acute pain is usually not the issue. But relying on them daily, without proper medical guidance, is a risk your kidneys may eventually pay for. Now, before we move into the two most powerful threats on this list, I need to ask you something. If this video is helping you, if you're learning something you didn't know before, take a second to support it. Tap the like button. That simple action helps this information reach more people who genuinely need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the moment. Because what we're discussing here is exactly the kind of information most doctors wish they had more time to explain during a consultation. Also, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I read them, and it helps build a stronger community around this channel. Now let's continue. Number 2, salt. But not in the way most people think. When I mention salt, the first response I usually hear is, I don't use much salt. And that's exactly where the misunderstanding begins. The real problem isn't the salt you add at the table. It's the sodium you don't see. The hidden sodium inside everyday foods. More than 70% of the sodium people consume doesn't come from the salt shaker. It comes from processed foods. Bread, processed meats, cheese, instant soups, packaged sauces, ready-made meals, snacks. The food industry uses sodium heavily, not just for preservation, but to enhance flavor. And over time, your body adapts to it, without you realizing how much you're consuming. Now here's what happens inside your body. When sodium intake increases, your body tries to balance it by retaining water. That extra fluid increases the volume of blood inside your vessels, and as that volume rises, so does your blood pressure. This is one of the main pathways through which hypertension develops or worsens over time, and hypertension is one of the leading causes of kidney damage. Why does this damage your kidneys so severely? Because the filtering units inside your kidneys are extremely delicate. Imagine a fine lace fabric, the kind carefully woven by hand. Now imagine blasting that fabric with the full pressure of a fire hose. It tears, it weakens, it begins to fall apart. That's exactly what chronic high blood pressure does to your kidney filters. It slowly damages them, creates scarring, and over time destroys their ability to function. And here's the part most people don't realize. Every scar means permanent loss. That function does not come back. Hypertension, along with diabetes, is one of the leading causes of chronic kidney failure worldwide. This isn't a coincidence. It's a direct chain. Too much sodium, increased blood pressure, progressive kidney damage. I remember a patient in his early 70s. He had spent most of his life eating processed foods, cured meats, packaged snacks, quick meals that were convenient but loaded with sodium. When he came in, his blood pressure was already elevated, but he didn't think it was a problem because he felt fine. No symptoms, no warning signs. But his tests told a different story. His kidney function had already dropped significantly. We were able to stabilize the progression with the right treatment and dietary changes. But what had already been lost could not be restored. And that's the part that stays with you as a physician, because it didn't have to reach that point. So what can you do? You need to become aware of what you're consuming. Start reading labels. Look for sodium content in everything. Foods that don't even taste salty can contain surprisingly high amounts. Many breakfast items, snacks, and packaged foods carry hidden levels most people never notice. As a general guideline, daily sodium intake should stay below around 2,000 milligrams. If you already have high blood pressure or kidney concerns, that number should be even lower. The most effective shift is simple. Cook more meals at home. Use natural ingredients. Season your food with herbs and spices, garlic, onion, turmeric, oregano, lemon, pepper. These bring flavor without putting pressure on your body, and over time, your taste adjusts. You begin to experience the real flavor of food again. Now, we've reached the most important part of this video, the one I saved for last, because it's the most common, the most addictive, and one of the most damaging factors affecting kidney health today. Number 1. The silent driver behind more kidney damage than anything else, especially in modern lifestyles. Now we arrive at number 1, the most powerful and most underestimated threat on this list: sugar and refined white flour. A combination so common, so normalized, that most people don't question it anymore. And before you think, "I already know sugar is bad," let me tell you something. You probably don't understand how damaging it really is. Not in the way I'm about to show you. Because sugar doesn't harm your kidneys through just one pathway. It attacks through multiple mechanisms at the same time. It's not a single threat. It's an entire system working against you. Let's start with the first pathway. Sugar is the primary gateway to type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is one of the leading causes of kidney failure worldwide. When you consume refined sugar or white flour, foods that are rapidly converted into glucose, your blood sugar levels spike sharply. Your body responds by releasing insulin to bring those levels down. But when this cycle repeats over and over again, day after day, your cells begin to lose sensitivity to insulin. This is called insulin resistance, and it's the first step toward type 2 diabetes. Now here's where the real damage begins. When glucose levels remain elevated over time, they start to affect your kidneys directly. Excess sugar in the bloodstream begins to alter the structure of the tiny filtering units inside your kidneys. It makes them rigid, less efficient, less capable of doing their job. This process, known medically as diabetic kidney damage, is one of the fastest pathways toward dialysis, and it often develops quietly, without pain, without warning. Now let's move to the second pathway: high blood pressure. For a long time, salt was considered the main driver of hypertension. But today, we know that excessive sugar intake also plays a major role. It affects vascular function, hormone balance, and fluid regulation. Which means, even if you reduce salt, high sugar intake can still push your blood pressure higher. And that creates additional stress on your kidneys. The third pathway is chronic inflammation. Sugar fuels a constant, low-grade inflammatory state inside the body. Not something you feel immediately, but something that slowly affects your blood vessels, including the tiny vessels that supply your kidneys. Over time, this inflammation leads to damage, scarring, and reduced filtration capacity. And once that damage occurs, it doesn't fully reverse. Now the fourth pathway: obesity and fatty liver. When your body can't burn the excess sugar and refined flour you consume, it turns it into fat. That fat accumulates in the liver, leading to fatty liver disease, and spreads throughout the body. And obesity by itself is already a major risk factor for kidney damage, because it forces your kidneys to work harder, filtering a larger volume of blood while dealing with a system that is no longer balanced. So now you can see the full picture: 4 simultaneous pathways, all hitting your kidneys at the same time. That's why sugar sits at the top of this list. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Regina. She was in her early 60s, a school teacher, active, independent, living what she believed was a normal routine. She came in after a routine test raised concern. Her kidney function had already dropped significantly. She had lost more than half of her kidney capacity without feeling anything unusual. No pain, no warning signs. When we looked at her daily habits, the pattern became clear. Packaged juice in the morning, processed snacks during the day, refined grains in most meals, sugary drinks in the evening. Nothing extreme, just normal. And that's exactly the problem. Because what feels normal isn't always safe. With proper guidance, adjustments, and discipline, we were able to stabilize her condition. But what had already been lost could not be recovered. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, because prevention is powerful and it starts with awareness. So what can you do starting today? Let me give you a clear and practical plan. First, eliminate sugary drinks. Sodas, packaged juices, sweetened teas, energy drinks. These are essentially liquid sugar. Replacing them with water, sparkling water with lemon, or unsweetened teas can have a rapid and meaningful impact. Second, start reading labels. Sugar hides behind many names: high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, sucrose. Different names, same effect. Third, replace refined grains with true whole versions. Whole grains slow down sugar absorption and reduce the burden on your system. Fourth, be cautious with low-fat or light products. In many cases, fat is removed and sugar is added to compensate for taste. Fifth, focus on real food, fruits, vegetables, whole ingredients, quality proteins, healthy fats, simple, natural choices that your body recognizes and can process efficiently. Because at the end of the day, what you remove from your routine matters, but what you replace it with matters even more. When your foundation is built on real, whole foods, sugar and refined flour naturally begin to disappear from your routine. And before making any major dietary changes or stopping any medication, have that conversation with your doctor. Every body is different, every case is unique. But choosing healthier habits is something you always have the right to discuss and explore. Now, let's bring everything together. Today we walked through 4 silent threats that are damaging kidney health every single day. Lack of movement, slowing circulation and opening the door to serious conditions. Chronic use of anti-inflammatory drugs, reducing blood flow to the kidneys over time. Hidden sodium, raising blood pressure and gradually damaging delicate filtration structures. And finally, sugar and refined flour, attacking the kidneys from multiple directions at once. I know this may feel like a lot, but you don't need to change everything at once. Start with one step. Replace a sugary drink with water. Move your body for a few minutes every hour. Read one label before buying a product. Small actions, repeated consistently, create real change. Your kidneys are working for you 24 hours a day, without pause, without complaint. All they need is for you to do your part. And now, you have the information to begin. If this video helped you see things differently, share it with someone you care about. A parent, a sibling, a friend. Because information that prevents disease needs to reach the people who need it most. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. In the next video, I'm going to show you 5 early warning signs your kidneys give before serious damage happens. Signals most people ignore, thinking they're just part of getting older. Don't miss it. Leave a comment below and tell me what surprised you the most. I read every single one. This community grows with every voice. Thank you for being here. Thank you for investing this time in your health. Take care of your kidneys. They've been taking care of you every single day. I'm Dr. Jason Watanabe, and I'll see you in the next video.